So welcome to our review on Silent Hope, a brand new action RPG on the Nintendo Switch and also on PC as well by XSEED Games and Marvelous. And we've been playing this game all weekend, and we want to come in and give our review of the good, the bad, and the ugly. We got some great things to say, and we'll save some of our criticisms to the end. And I'll ask you guys, are you looking forward to this game? Let me know down below. So, yes, we've been playing this, and I gotta say, I saw this at Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this looks like my kind of thing, an action RPG and all that. But I really didn't know a lot about it. There was a demo released, and we've been playing it. And before we get into all the details, what's your overall thing? What do you think of this game so far?
So far, it's very much fun.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying it. Definitely going to keep going with it.
Yeah.
There's addiction.
Yeah.
For sure, of
Yeah,
course.
there definitely is.
And then I think we should just talk about exactly what we feel about it.
Right.
And everything.
So let's start with the story. So we have 7 heroes that must enter the abyss.
Yes.
And so they're entering the chasm there, going all the way down, and they're trying to find the king who is down there, and his daughter is imprisoned in her own tears.
For 100 years, I believe.
I know. And so she's trying to help you rescue the king and all of that, and she's part of the main hub world, and we're going to get into that in a little bit.
Try wishing harder.
So it's an action RPG where you can play as 7 different characters, and you can switch between them.
You have a main character, but
Yes.
you can switch between others.
Anytime that you want, and all of them have different weapons that they use, different abilities that they use, and that lends you to the hub world. And the hub world is kind of interesting because it allows you just to jump down into the abyss, into the chasm, and make your way down as far as you can go, all the way to the bottom. And there's a lot of different things that you can do in this hub world.
Yes, like you got your farming, obviously, and then you got your alchemy, and then you got your blacksmith.
Yes.
Basically, the bare bones of what you would do in a hub world.
Yeah, for action RPG, yeah.
Yeah, and it's very fun. Like, it's very cute. I love the big cows.
Oh, yeah.
It's like right away, I'm like, oh, that's adorable.
Yeah.
And like, you got to do farming, which I always love farming.
And
you got cooking, too.
And I gotta say this is something that me and Kim are different on. I don't like doing the job things and doing that. No, I don't like. Well, she absolutely loves it.
I do.
And all that. So Kim,
it's very rewarding.
I definitely, and you know what? We're gonna get into that as well and all that. So yeah, you can pick any of your characters there and use that as a main character, and all the other characters are doing those cooking professions, or the blacksmiths. And so you'll go into the chasm, bring them items, and then they'll craft them for you. And then you can make them into certain items and things like that.
To help you along.
Yeah, so that's kind of the interesting thing there. And Kim, again, at this point, was playing it. And I was like, okay, I was just sitting on the couch kind of watching, and I'm like, it's interesting, but...
Because it's kind of the same.
Yeah.
What you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Hub world, fighting down, hub world.
Yeah, exactly, because you jump into the abyss, and you go as far down as you can go, and it's an action RPG combat.
Yes.
So you're using your sword, and you also have other special abilities, and they build up next to you, and you can unleash those, and you can kind of do combos, which is really kind of interesting.
Of course.
And all that, which I really like. So every single time you go as far down as you can, you're like, that's as far as I can get. Okay, I'm going back to the hub world.
Because it does get harder.
Yeah.
You know, and like you only have so many potions.
Right.
And you want to be able to find that teardrop, because without that, you have to go down to the next level.
Yeah. So you're always kind of looking for the teardrop. You're like, oh my god, am I pushing?
Gotta make sure there's one there.
Yeah, so you can get back up to the top. And some levels, I was like, oh boy.
All right. See you soon.
So I just want to say my experience, Kim's actually really enjoying the game. She's like, this is so addicting and all of that. And then Kim goes out on the Saturday for the day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I'll level up your character just for the fun of it. And
teamwork.
Teamwork.
I love her teamwork.
Exactly. And so I start just playing the game, and I start leveling up, and I'm like, okay. I'm fighting, wave after wave of monsters, and it's kind of the same thing over and over and over again. That's what this game realistically is. But all of a sudden I started kind of getting addicted to it, and I started liking getting my character getting stronger, bringing them back to the hub world, getting different items, that I collected and stuff like that, and going back down and going, oh, I made it a couple more levels down.
Yeah.
And then I get to the boss, and I'm like,
I was always nervous to get to the boss. I'm not really. I always feel like I need to be a little bit more in the levels.
Right. Am I ready yet? Am I ready yet? And we waited till we almost changed class for the first character.
That's true.
And all of that. And that's another thing that we're going to say is that you can change classes in this. So when you hit a certain level, you can change the class, or you hit a certain point in the game, you can also change class. I won't ruin that for you there. So we got to the first boss, and we're like, hey, the first boss is a little bit challenging, even with all the leveling that we were doing.
Yeah, you really got to be strategic in it.
Yeah, you definitely do, and use your special abilities to the max, and make sure you definitely do your combos. So we do have to talk about the Abyss for a second, that every single time you go down there, it does change. The Abyss does change all of the time. And there's a great amount of enemies down there. There's treasure chests. Yes. Some treasure chests are not treasure chests, they're monsters.
No, I found that one out the hard way.
Yeah, that's kind of the freaky thing there.
Oh yeah, and then sometimes when you get to a certain level, you can do the trials. So if you do fight 20 monsters, you get a special item. Or even if you don't use your potions through the whole thing, you get a special item. So those are kind of like the side quests that you do down there that you do want to do, so you can get those items when you go back into the hub world.
Yeah, there's that addiction of doing extra things.
For sure.
And all of that. So you keep going back into the Abyss and just leveling up and doing these actual challenges as well. And that's another level of addiction.
Aside from the trials, there are something called memory rifts. So it's like these little circle portals that you go through. And that's when you fight some big baddies. But the great thing about doing that is the items that you get. You get really nice elite ones that you want to get through there, but they just keep coming at you.
Yeah.
And that's what made me nervous. I remember when I first started fighting it, and there was a little thing that you hit a bomb, and I hit it too soon. What are you doing? What do you mean? And then they just came at me, and I didn't have this bomb to save me, and I was like, oh my god, I did this one wrong.
It's funny, the same thing happened to me when you were out for the day, and I get all the way down, and my health wasn't great.
Ooh,
and
no, you went in.
And I went in, I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I came out with this much health.
Yeah.
But you know what? If you don't risk, you don't receive.
Yeah, you want to do these.
You want to do these memory rifts, and I went in and did it, and I just barely got by, but I got better items and way more money, and I'm like, phew, let's go back to the hub world again and get some more potions and get back down there once again. And for each character, every character is completely different in this game. Some characters use bows, other characters use swords. Some are boxing through enemies.
I know when I first had her, you're like, hey, you're not equipped. I'm like, I am equipped. I got my boxing.
And you just taking out enemies that way, and that's really a lot of fun. But this game, realistically, what it's all about is to level up all of your characters and change their classes and get deeper and deeper down into the Abyss and see how far you can go and get as far as you can possibly do and all of that. And that is very, very simple. And for a lot of people, that may be a big turnoff.
I can see that, yes.
Yeah, but for a lot of older school people like us, we kind of got into the addiction of it, and we want to keep getting further down and beating the boss and getting into the next level after that. And it was kind of addicting. But the game is not completely a perfect game. This is not a AAA game, and we really know that going in, but there is addiction. But now we'll get into some small nitpicks.
Just little small ones.
So this game is called Silent Hope, and all voices of the world have been taken away, including our 7 heroes. But you know whose voice they could not take away?
Whose?
The princess.
Oh my.
Oh my god, when you're in the hub world, she does not stop blabbering.
Winter is my favorite season, but the snow here piles up so high. It ends up covering half my crystal. It's a little frightening.
And it's just too much. I'm like, okay. And there's this filler.
She's been in case for 100 years. She has a lot to say.
She's
a lot to say.
A lot to say, and she's saying it.
Yeah.
If you like it or not. The one thing that we finally did was go in and turn the volume down.
I can't believe we did that. I've never had to do that on a game.
I know.
But we just had to.
We had
just
to.
so we can concentrate on what we were doing.
Yeah, even when you're getting your other characters to forge you weapons and stuff, she's still blabbering in the background going, blah, 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 blah.
100 years!
I know.
Been alone for 100
we'll give her that, but just know that kind of gets annoying really quick.
Father, I mean, the king was always very busy. He worked so hard. I worried he might collapse from exhaustion someday.
So that was your nitpick, but my nitpick was just, when you get items, you should just, you just walk over them and you get them. But certain other ones, you have to push ZR.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I forget to do it. I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of stuff that I still need. But if you're putting, just walking through it, you should keep it throughout. Why should I have to click another button?
Yeah, it's interesting. You were complaining about that on the Friday night, and I started playing it that Saturday morning, and I'm like, oh, maybe let's see how that is.
Like, why is she really making a big deal out of this?
Yeah, and the funny thing is because some items are sucked right into you,
yes.
and other ones you have to go over and manually
click on them.
And it's just like I understand from a gameplay kind of view.
Point of view. You pick one way to go with it, then go with that.
Yeah, I know. I was doing it, and I'm like, they threw this in just so you had an extra thing to do.
Okay,
right?
fine.
Not meaning that it's actually a great idea. It's just something extra for you to do, which is so kind of ridiculous. And something else that you mentioned, sometimes, like, some characters control really, really well.
Yes.
And some characters, the way they're punching or the way that they move or the way they shoot their arrows can feel a little off. I had no problem with our sword user because his sword is a bit long, right?
Yes.
And all that. But some of the other characters, sometimes hit positions can seem a little bit off, but it's something you kind of get used to.
I would think you get used to it when you pick a certain character and that's the one that you're mainly leveling up in their skills. You probably get accustomed to it. But when you're switching over, it just throws me off.
Yeah. You're used to like doing something a certain way, then you're like, wait, I'm punching up this way. Wait, my sword was going this way before, so it's kind of a bit jarring, and sometimes you have to take a little bit of time to get used to a new character. And we're saving the best for last. Some of the good stuff that we do really enjoy, the graphics of this game.
The graphics of this game are beautiful, very vibrant. It does remind me of Bravely Default a bit. When it first started, I'm like, this is a bit of Bravely Default, I like it. And Fantasy Life.
Yeah, Kim got that zone in there, and it's kind of based on the Rune Factory universe. It's something that me and Kim have not really played and all that, so that's why we kind of make those analogies to, like, Fantasy Life.
And Bravely Default.
Yeah, for sure. But I gotta say, the characters are cute. I kind of like the cell shading of the world.
Yes.
Not AAA. It is exactly what it means to be in this game, and it is charming, and it works for what it is.
And what did you think about the music? Because you are such a gameplay music lover.
Yeah.
What did you think about this one?
It's interesting. I think we kind of both agree from what you've said and what I've said at separate times. I think this music works. I don't think it's like blowing you away, but it's perfectly in the background for going down into these underground levels and doing them over and over and over again. It just kind of goes into the background. It's just kind of there, and it kind of works, and it's fine. It's fitting.
It's fitting. It's fitting.
Yeah, it's fitting for what it is. It's not one of those things you're, oh God, this is really annoying. It just is kind of always there and all that. So in a way, it kind of works for what this style of game is. So, in the end of the day, I'm going to put it to you, would you recommend this game?
I do recommend this game. I think this is a good, on an evening, want to relax and sit and just kind of go through level by level. Highly recommend. I do.
You really recommend?
I do. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
I really do.
I think it's great for anybody who likes to level up in games, and
That's my style.
Which I do too.
Yeah.
I think the gameplay itself is very, very simplistic for what it is, but yet there is some addiction there. I went in saying, I don't know, like the initial Nintendo Direct, I was like, this looks great, and I saw you playing it, I'm like, Yeah, it's very simple. And then I started playing it. It's one of those things, there's a demo out there, so you can always go and play the demo.
Oh yeah, try the demo first. See how you really feel about it.
See how you really feel.
But you lost 2.5 hours. You're like in there 2.5 hours later, like, oh, I see.
Yeah, just leveling, doing the same levels over and over. And I'm like, this is a lot of fun. And I wanted to keep going down. And yeah, we're still playing the game. We kind of finished it last night to capture our initial footage. And we're like, yeah, we're going to keep on playing this game. So in a way, there is an addiction. And people were texting me saying, how is the game? And I'm like, I can't stop playing it. So I don't know. There is something to it. So if you do like Rune Factory games, or just games where you're going level after level after level down, trying to remain as strong as possible, taking yourself to the edge, this game may be for you. But yeah, there is some nitpicks that we had with it for sure. But overall, it's for me like a 7 to 7.5 out of 10 game.
I agree.
For sure. It's somewhere in there. So anyways, guys, until next time.